I'm Tom Aageson, Executive Director of the Museum of New Mexico Foundation. I want to welcome you this evening to this wonderful celebration of our 40th anniversary. As members, you can be proud of what we've accomplished in these past 40 years. There are now 9,500 members strong, members in every state and in a number of countries. Since we've been founded in 1962, we have raised over $44 million for the support of the Museum of New Mexico. So we say thank you to the state of New Mexico. We say thank you to you as members, and we look forward to a wonderful celebration tonight.
We are very lucky in New Mexico because we're unique if you think of the rest of the United States, because we're so rich in those different values. We've had such different cultures coming together in this one area, and we have such a marvelous physical place to do it in.
The plaza was the heart of town, I think essentially because, well, most of the stores were around the plaza, obviously, so people who came to shop came there. You knew almost everybody that you saw on the street, actually, and I don't think you could go to any kind of a public gathering without knowing somebody.
I can remember coming to St. Francis Auditorium. That was the only auditorium in Santa Fe, and I can remember sitting there watching the birds fly back and forth, because there wasn't any air conditioning or anything like that, so the windows were wide open and the birds loved it in there.
The three women that I remember were my mother, Alice Rawson, Gertrude Clark, and Vivian Fisk. She and the other two ladies decided that the fine art should have its own foundation, because that's what she was interested in. Now, it was at this point that Peach Mayer was on the Board of Regents.
She asked me if I would be the chairman or president or whatever it was and form a board. And if the museum raised any money, it went into the general fund. And that meant, obviously, that that money didn't come back to the museums, but could go anywhere.
The mission of the foundation has always been pretty much the same, to support the museums. Of course, it was a much, much smaller operation then.
There were a lot less meetings, and that was nice. We are able to solicit money, run the shops, provide the membership program.
What the Museum of New Mexico Foundation has done is provided a way for private donors to feel that funds are being managed well, and literally 100% of all the gift is actually going to museum programs. And I think that in itself is pretty remarkable.
The foundation, which manages money extremely well, has been extraordinarily helpful to the support group I was most interested in, by in effect being our bankers, investing our funds, and very well, overseeing them, making it easy for people who wanted to contribute to the museums to do it with tax benefits. In so many ways, the foundation is absolutely essential to the museums.
Alice Rawson used to have fabulous parties at the museum, and what they would do is they'd take all the benches out of St. Francis, then have these wonderful dinner parties as fundraisers, and the Pink Adobe restaurant would cater them.
Rear Garson and Maria Martinez, the potter, were sitting together, and that was an event that everybody was craning their necks from joining tables to see the two of them there together. Getting the Alexander Girard collection was a very significant thing. And I remember going up to talk to him on several occasions and asking him whether he had any thoughts about giving. He became convinced that this was the place that his collection should go. I think the largest gift that we have ever received was the gift of Maggie Ryan, who bequeathed several $1 million to the Museum Foundation.
I've lived here about 12 years now. My husband and I lived for 40 years in Houston, Texas, and you can't imagine how thrilled I am to be here just with the weather. But with the art, it's just like a kid in a candy store. I was charmed with the foundation. I've never worked with a staff that is so competent and creative and just makes volunteering for art and artists a complete joy.
What's so unique about our museum shops here is that instead of museum reproductions, as you might find in a museum like the Metropolitan or MoMA, we actually sell original work. We sell original pots and baskets and furniture and jewelry.
Actually, they're a great source of the foundation's income. They have wonderful volunteers and staff, and they do a great job.
We buy about $1,200,000 worth of merchandise a year for those shops, and most of those crafts are, northern New Mexico craftspeople.
The licensing comes from manufacturers, basically, and they do adaptations of some of our collections, such as the furniture in the Palace of the Governors. A lot of fabrics have been licensed from the designs in the Folk Art Museum.
People who have come to Santa Fe come to these museums to really experience some of the great culture that we have in this region of the world. That is an enormous contribution to the economy.
One of the most important things that we can do now, if not the most important thing, is to increase the endowment of the Museum Foundation so that we have a very strong endowment for each of the units of the Museum of New Mexico.
I'm very proud of my association with the foundation. I wouldn't trade it for any other experience I've had. All I can do now is, I think, watch with a glow of pleasure the accomplishment of our long, long, hard struggle.
Art and New Mexico are just one and the same almost. I'll bet you that nearly every household here has one person in it who considers themselves to be an artist.
It's New Mexico that really is what matters to me, and this is what the foundation is a conduit.
I'm very optimistic about the future of the foundation and the museums. I think we've all seen so much improvement and change in the last few years, and I feel that it's going to go no place but up.
So that is why the foundation was established 40 years ago.